Hear me out. Put the book down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Isn't that the point? P to the double O P. But that's not true. I disagree. I can't read that. Do some research before you say that. Hold on. No. You have a favorite book. I have a favorite book. And today I'm gonna be reading the 1-star reviews on my 5-star reads, including my favorite books of all time. Here we are. Got my second cup of coffee. If there's one thing to know about me, it's that I have a lot of opinions and I'm really picky. So the books that I have given 5 stars to me are books that I think about often, books that have made me cry, books that the characters are so real and tangible that I feel like they are now a friend or a part of me, books where the storyline and the plot is just so good you can't help but be completely enamored with it. So that's just a little bit about me and my personal preference when it comes to books. I may tell you why I gave it 5 stars if I can even think about it. Some of these books I rated a long time ago, so I won't really remember what was the one thing that sold me on it, but some of them are more new 5 stars, so I could better explain why I gave them that rating. I do want to pause and say, not every book is for every person. You can have a favorite book of all time, and I can have a favorite book of all time, and we disagree. That's why books and literature and writing is so impactful, is because there's something for every single person. That's why there's millions and millions of books out there, is so that you can find one that you love and I can find one that I love. Now, I want to say that because I'm very passionate about the books that I love. When I read these 1-star reviews and I come for the jugular for these people that have rated it 1 star, I don't want you to think that I'm hating on the person. I am just fighting for my book. And I will say, this is gonna be a more emotionally toned video, so if you don't want to see me kind of get frustrated, then maybe don't watch this video. But with that being said, we all have opinions. I respect that. As an author, I respect opinions. Trust me, I know not everybody is gonna like my book. Why would I expect that when I don't like every book? So I'm gonna go ahead and hop on my Goodreads. We're gonna start off strong with Rebecca. Ratings and 1 stars. Okay. What is this? I'm already at a loss for words. Rebecca. I just recently read this book and it is a classic that I really enjoyed. I read it when I was in high school and then I reread it like a month ago or something like that, and it's just, the writing is beautiful. The characters are so, like, again, they're real, and I just attached so much to our main character who never even has a name, and I think that's actually really cool, and I can imagine how difficult that was to write. She is flawed, but not too flawed, and then you see her kind of have this growth going on, and then the dynamic between her and Mr. De Winter. But okay, this 1-star review says, I hated this boring ass, pompous ass, dumbass book. What I liked, the gorgeous cover. That's it. Everything else sucked. Why it sucked? Boring. 2, the main character. Never in my life have I read about such a dull, naive, idiotic, clueless, worthless, Forrest Gump look-alike, boring, stupid person. She reminded me a lot of my younger self, actually. And isn't that the point? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Isn't that the point? See what I'm saying? I'm already getting mad. I'm already getting mad. Taylor, calm down. It's okay. I wouldn't want to know that person, let alone read about her. I would be embarrassed for her if I didn't hate her so much. She didn't even have a name, and that's probably because her parents knew she wasn't worth naming, since she would grow up to have absolutely no personality or brains whatsoever. That's the point, in my opinion, of this character. Honestly, is that, like, she is just unlikable enough to where you are wanting to shake her through the book. Like, you're like, come on, get it together. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And I think that's the point. I think that's the point. Oh my god. Their 6th reason for why Rebecca sucked is, ooh, spooky plot twist. Please, I leave better plot twists than that in the toilet after my morning bowl of bran flakes. Whew. 1 star. Wow, this really sucked. One of the most boring books I've ever read. Well, you can't love them all. Moving on. Melodramatic, bellowing prose, characters so paper-thin and one-dimensional as to be cartoonish, and a narrator the consistency of oatmeal. The relief, now that it's over. Okay, and that was Rebecca. We're gonna move on to Still Life with Rice. Now this is a memoir. A young American woman discovers the life and legacy of her Korean grandmother. I read this one. It was beautiful, heartbreaking. I don't see how you can't like this book because it's somebody's life. You know what I mean? Like, they went through all these traumatic things and it's insightful. It's a different culture. Like, you just should appreciate the fact that they took the time to write about this woman's life. Alas, there are 1-star reviews. So let's read them, shall we? This book is about Korean family from the Chosun dynasty until nowadays. I was forced to read this book and write an essay about it at Academy during that week, and it was such a horrible experience. This book is almost 400 pages long and it's unbelievably boring. There are some reasons why. Tempo was too slow, family rules were too strict. My brother, that's the point. And incomprehensible action of main chapters. However, when it gets to the war and diseases, the tempo gets faster and story gets more dynamically rhythmic. After I read this book, I felt, yes, finally, I'm free, but also proud of myself for reading the whole book. Wow. Saying that war and diseases is what entertained you when this person lived through that is actually terrible. This one says, this was the first book I read with my original Boston book club. Nothing else, but it's a 1-star. And a whole lot of other 1-stars with no reviews on them. So I would love to know why. Guys, tell me why. Moving on to The Count of Monte Cristo, which I am still shocked that I read that behemoth of a book so fast. I just gotta rant a little bit. I loved this book so much. I want to reread it and annotate more of it and underline things and tab a bunch of stuff because I feel like Alexander Dumas did such a beautiful job of showing just how we can change as people and how over time, when you are so obsessed with one thing, like Monte Cristo is obsessed with revenge, but then like how that kind of alters over the course of his life and like how he sees things unfold and how he has more empathy and like compassion and like he just develops so well in the story. And I already can see people being like, this was boring, there wasn't like a lot of like active revenge, where like I was hoping he was gonna like go a couple people. It's a lot deeper than that. There's a lot more layers to it. There was a lot of like slowish scenes, but I appreciated them all because it gave you a glimpse into the lives of the people he was trying to get revenge at. So I appreciated it, just personally. So I'm just gonna brace myself for these 1-star reviews. So the first 150 pages are fine. They explain how the main character was arrested, escaped, and finds a fortune. Then absolutely nothing happens. There are hundreds of pages of completely irrelevant characters doing nothing at all. But that's not true. But that's not true. The Italy scene could be removed from the book with no loss. That's not true. It's actually not true. Instead of talent of revenge, this is a boring tale of dinner parties and small talk in which nothing really happens. The characters are all flat without any personality. The female characters are particularly bland. I know the 19th century, I don't think so. Hold on, no. There's one in particular I'm thinking of who I love, so no. I'm getting angry. I'll calm down. I know the 19th century didn't set a high standard, but these maidens, pure in every way, got boring very fast. The author over 1,000 pages to work with, yet the characters have no depth whatsoever to them. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Absolutely not. I'm not gonna waste my time reading that. The writing was good, plot was interesting. However, it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. Hold on. Because the Count of Monte Cristo is a villain. The guy is pure evil. He makes himself out to be the hand of God when he enacts his revenge fantasy on his friends and their families. It was a strange read because of course the Count of Monte Cristo is the hero. Hear me out. Put the book down. You know it's about revenge. You know it's about revenge. You know the main character is about to go get revenge on all these people that absolutely ruined this man's life. And I feel like the revenge was valid, and I'm actually disappointed he didn't get better revenge. So, put the book down. Put the book down. Of course he's the villain. I genuinely have no words to describe my experience suffering through this. put it down. Life is too short to read books you don't like, including ones that I love, so just put it down. Okay, see, this person I can respect. They said I DNF'd this. I couldn't get into it. Okay, we're gonna move on from the Count of Monte Cristo because I'm getting upset. Those actually made me so mad. I love the Count of Monte Cristo. Next up is another classic, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. What could go wrong? I can already see people just being a hater to be a hater. It takes a lot for me to give a book 1 star. I will usually only give a book 2 stars if I really don't like it. A 1 star is like, burn it, put it in the garbage disposal. I don't ever want to see it again. Don't speak to me about this book. I looked on my Goodreads and I'm pretty sure I have 3 1-star reviews, maybe 4. I can understand where some people would like the books that I don't like. Some of them, they deserve 1 star. I was rooting for Mr. Bingley to get away. Maybe he just isn't that into Jane. Can we pause on that? If you've read Pride and Prejudice or seen the movies, you know who Mr. Bingley is and you know how horrible of a human being he is. You wanted the literal villain, who is a horrible human being, not in a fun way, to get away with it. I don't even know what to say to that. The most overrated book in the history of literature. This book has been billed as one of the greatest love stories in all of literature. I have no idea why. P to the double O P. I can't believe my professor read this 25 times. I am dead inside. 25 times is a little excessive though, I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna move on. That was so much fun. Okay, now we're gonna go to one of my favorite books of all time, The Song of Achilles. And if you thought I was passionate about the Count of Monte Cristo, just brace yourself. Okay, I already know. I'm gonna batten the hatches for this one. 1-star reviews. Oh man, where do I start with this one? I know that the big majority of people love this book. They cried and were heartbroken and it was the best thing they ever read and shit. But for me, it was just so boring. The characters were horrendous. If I wanted to read about the most useless, passive, and boring narrator being in love with this attractive golden god dude with no personality, and when he does have one, he just turns to a selfish prick, I would reread Twilight. Seriously, can Patroclus be any more of a Bella? How dare you? How dare you put this on the same level as Twilight? And I love Twilight. The writing was mediocre. Now I wonder, how the hell does an epic tale become such a bland, flat story? New battery. Is that where you were? I don't remember. I hated pretty much everything about this. The only reason I didn't DNF was because I wanted to watch them die suffering and begging for death. The main characters, that is. I can't read that. I can't read this review. I can't read it. What type of person says that? Move on. Okay, next up we have a cozy 5-star read for me, which is A Psalm for the Wild Built. This is a book I don't see how you can be a hater on. It's cozy, the writing is beautiful, the characters are so incredibly lovely, the world building is easy to follow, and did I mention how good the writing was? So I'm really interested to see these 1-star reviews. I loved the premise of the story and was excited to read it. However, the use of gender-neutral pronouns proved to be my undoing. Come on! Oh my god, stop. It became too much work to retrain my brain, so this is a DNF. It wasn't that hard to comprehend, genuinely. But I can respect the not being able to retrain your brain, I guess. That's okay. Dex has no idea who they are, that's the main character, and I have no clue who they are either. There's absolutely zero effort made to describe them. It's almost like that's the point. I found the 29-year-old protagonist to be a bit of a petulant child. Their massive crisis that spurs this journey is dissatisfaction with their job when they have the ability to go anywhere and do anything anyway. Maybe they should have been 19. I'm 28 and I'm literally traveling, just figuring out who I am. So I think that is a very appropriate age for you to go on a journey to figure out who you are and what you want out of life, when what you have been told to be for the past 30 years isn't what you want to be anymore. I think that's okay. I don't think they need to be 19. Okay, we're gonna move on, guys, to the last book, the finale. Are you ready? Are you bracing yourselves? Because you might want to. It's the book I will die defending with my very last breath. Say it with me. The 6 Deaths of the Saint. I have read this book 4 times now, and every single time it has been better and better. It's a 6-star, maybe 7-star read. It's my favorite writing of all time. It's just untouchable in my mind. So let's read some 1-star reviews, huh? Reviews are calling this 29-page story life-changing, immaculate, beautiful. 100%. I'm sitting here thinking, damn, it was hard to get through just those 29 pages. I hated the second person POV. The writing didn't invoke any feeling in me or impress me. The story wasn't even very interesting. Thank goodness it was only 29 pages or I wouldn't have finished this. I think this author wrote Ninth House, which I also hated. Well, you're wrong. You're wrong. That was Leigh Bardugo. That was not Alex E. Harrow. Do some research before you say that. I'm guessing this author is just not for me. It seems Harrow's writing is for a lot of people though, so take this musing with a grain of salt. Okay, so no, she didn't write Ninth House. That was Leigh Bardugo. Maybe give Alex E. Harrow another go. I don't understand why this was hyped as much. It has potential, but is poorly written. Even as a short story, the time leaps ruined the whole thing. I would rather love a coward than mourn a legend. Boring. Imagine, what are you reading? I gotta know, what are you reading if you think that line that's a bar is boring? I gotta know. If that's boring to you, please tell me what isn't boring, because wow. I feel like this one had a lot of potential, but for me personally, I cannot stand the use of you as the pronoun in books. You fought, you did this, you did that, ruined the book. I can respect that, like, you personally don't like second POV. I get that. I totally understand that. For me personally, I think that totally made the book incredible because there's like a twist that happens later on in the story that paired with the second POV is just chef's kiss. If you can't get past that, I understand. I respect that. To be quite honest, I'm not even sure what it was about. Maybe give it another go. Maybe read it a little slower, take some time with it, and give it another go. 2.5. Why did you give it a 1-star, babe? 2.5 probably should have a 2-star. Maybe 3 if you're rounding up. The short story tried very hard to be aesthetic and dark and medieval, but some parts of it read like a TikTok prompt, which is never a good thing. It felt pretentious without true power to move its audience. I disagree. I didn't fully understand what was going on, and I didn't like the writing style. I can respect that. 1 star. Meh. Meh? Meh? Okay, we did it. I did it. I made it past it. You made it past it. I'm gonna say it again. Not every book is for every person, and books that I love, you may not love, and that's okay. That's why there are millions and millions of books for us all to read. So, you know what? I now need to decompress, drink a gallon of water, and take a walk in nature. Go ahead and give this video a like if you liked it. Comment down below your favorite book of all time or just a 5-star read that you've read recently, and I will respond with a joke. I'm not saying it's gonna be funny, but it will be a joke nonetheless. And make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications to get notified every single time that I post a new video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!